This is Romo Dunze, and you're listening to the Ballsville Podcast.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
And now, your host of the Ballsville Game Podcast, Scott Fitzgerald.
What's up, everybody? 2 seconds here. We're going to start showing up on your screen.
All right, there we go.
Hey.
Welcome back, Ballsville gamers, to another episode of the Ballsville Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Fitzgerald, a.k.a. Ludes for Sale, and this episode is brought to you by the Ballsville Games. Our games combine fantasy football and poker, which create big payouts with great odds. I'm excited. I'm back off of a 2-week layoff in the sun, nice tan, hanging out with friends, adult beverages. I am ready to go. I'm fired up for this episode. I'm going to introduce my panel. We got Sarah, we have Sarah M21 doing the producing for us in the background with all the quirky noise. What's up, Sarah? There you go. I have my co-host. He is a Bills Mafia guy. He is from Las Vegas. We call him Farmer Sean. What is up, Sean?
Not much different. How's it going?
The Bills make me wanna kick your heels up and throw your hands up.
I love Kent's reaction. It's my favorite.
And next we have the dealer is back, Mr. Ken Moore. He is my neighbor in Florida and one of my best friends. What is up, Ken?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And we have a little bit of Southern charm on the pod today. He's been on before. He is Connor, way down in big old Texas, an A&M grad. What is up, Connor?
Really? This is your
How's
music?
it going? This is my third time on, I think. The third time.
All right. So we are back in.
How dare you?
So before we get into it, we are going to talk about some the scoreboard for the Ballsville. Right now we are at 107 subscribers. Congratulations to us. We have 7 high stakes leagues going right now, the $100 ones. We have 2 mid stakes at $50, and we have 7 low stakes, which is $25, that are all either done or up and running. So we are moving quick and we are moving fast, and to get these redrafts all set and done. So there we go. So here we go. We're going to get into the news and notes.
That's so great.
That is great. So, okay, so we're going to get into some news and notes right now. We're going to talk about the quarterback, I guess, controversy in Las Vegas with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. We're going to look into where we would potentially take these guys in a redraft. They're both taking first team snaps in training camp right now. So we are going to go to the quarterback whisper number 2 in Sean, and I'm going to ask Sean in redraft right now. If you're on the clock and you have to take one of these 2 guys as maybe your second super flex quarterback or a third, which one are you leaning towards?
Well, if I'm taking them as my second super flex quarterback, I did something wrong.
Of course.
Let me just say that first and foremost. But no, honestly, I think I just go with Minshew. I really do. I think he's going to end up winning that job. I think he's just like that much better than Aiden O'Connell can be. So not that that's good, but I just think he's that much better. And I think he can at least sustain, a decent offense. His production's not going to be great. I don't want to have to play him. And I probably would play, a good flex player, like a wide receiver, running back flex player over him in the super flex position most of the time. But, if I had to have one on my squad, I'm going to lean Minshew just because I think he wins the job.
Okay. How about you, Connor? Do you like the porn stash man and Aiden O'Connell, or do you like the real mustache man, Gardner Minshew?
Yeah, so I would probably do the same thing as Sean. I'm not looking forward to drafting either of them, but if I had to draft one, I'd probably go Minshew just based on his sleeper picture alone. It's about so.
All right, Ken, how about you?
I'm in the same boat. I don't even want I don't want those quarterbacks at all. I'd probably, go Minshew, but I'd rather, throw myself out there instead of either one of those guys.
Okay, now, real quick
He'll play
side note.
TJ Hawkinson over them in his super flex.
Absolutely.
So real quick side note, and any of you guys can jump in. There he is. Any of you guys can jump in on this one. So, I mean, everyone's worried about Devontae Adams in this offense. Everyone thinks that, having Gardner come in or Aiden O'Connell come in, it's going to really I'm seeing him drop in these drafts. Now, if you remember last year, Michael Pittman had a pretty good season with Gardner Minshew under the helm when Richardson went down. So, I mean, I think Minshew can get Adams the ball. I mean, how are you guys drafting Devontae Adams? I mean, I've seen him going kind of in the middle of the second round. I mean, is he a value at that point? If he slips later in the second round, I think it's a value. But I mean, are you guys still targeting him in that middle second round range? If you're looking at a wide receiver, if you started off with a quarterback or running back,
And it depends on how many receivers are off the board before him. Like there's a few guys like I know it might not be popular, but like Drake London, I would seriously consider over him. Like stuff like that. Olave, I'd consider. So like those guys, like kind of like right there. And so if they're on the board, it's tough for me to take Adams, just not really having any confidence in that quarterback room. So, I have to lean just slightly like right on that cusp with him. So,
what about you, Ken? Or what do you think of Adams?
I just need to clarify something that Sean just said. I would take Olave or London over Devontae Adams. But if Devontae Adams is in like the late second, early third is probably where I would take him, but I wouldn't take him any earlier than that.
What about you?
Haven't you noticed him going before those players though?
There have been a couple I've seen where he has.
I would take Adams over Olave personally. I like London over. I don't have any confidence in Derek Carr either, so it's not like I'm real confident in the QB situation over there. I think Adams is probably still one of the most talented wide receivers in the league, even though he's I think 31 now, but he still showed it last year. He can produce. So
yeah, I definitely think I still like Adams is not a top tier elite receiver, but I still like him in that middle second round range. I mean, Gardner Minshew showed last year that he can definitely funnel the targets to the WR1, and if he keeps that job, which I think he will, I still think Adams should have a productive year. So I like the mustache man getting the ball to Adams. I think he's going to look to him often, in a lot. So I definitely I still like Devontae Adams in the middle of the second. We're going to step over and get to another piece of news. I think we might have mentioned this guy in the past, but I have a different approach to this time. So, they're saying in Bronco country that Bo Nix is really picking up the offense really well, taking all the reps. He's going up against Jared Stidham and Zach Wilson, who sucks at football. And, so my question to the panel is, in a rookie super flex, as Bo Nix, is he creeped up into the late first round, or is he still a second round guy to you guys? I'm going to start off with Connor. And is he someone that you would take over like a receiver or running back at the end of the first round in a rookie super flex draft?
Yes, I've done a few rookie drafts this offseason, and I've taken them I think as high as the 110, I believe. I'm still, a top 15 pick and a quarterback in a super flex league can be a stud there, especially at the end of the first round. I've taken him there. I'm confident taking him anywhere from maybe the 108, depending on your QB situation. After anywhere before that, I think it's probably a little early, but after that, I feel like depending on your QB situation, 108 is probably as high as I'll take him. So,
Kenneth, I know you love them running backs. So are you taking Bo Nix or are you taking any of the two running backs, Benson, Benson
Brooks.
or Brooks over him?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix, no problem. Yeah, Bo Nix.
No problem for me.
All right. What about you, Sean? I'm going to throw a couple dudes out there. Do you take Bo Nix or Ladd McConkey or Coleman?
Probably Ladd, maybe not Coleman.
Maybe not Coleman.
That's big coming from a Bills fan.
Coming from a Bills.
I know. The only reason I say that is because I think Ladd is just a more polished player and a more safer bet. And if I'm taking a player that high in a rookie draft this loaded, I want to take the safer bet, that could come out strong. And I think the Keon's going to take some time. Everything I've been hearing is he's doing well here and there, but he's still got a lot to learn as far as the offense and this and that. And Buffalo is notorious for starting their rookie slow. They usually don't really get them a ton of playing time until midway through the season. So for that reason, if I'm going for, this season championship, which I always try to do anyways, like I never want to skip a season to try for a championship. So, I'm always going to try to take the player that I think has a close upside to the one that's there. And then also gives me that original or first season point potential.
Yeah, I like Bo Nix. I had a couple leagues where I was having some quarterback problems, and I actually had to try to trade up and into the late first round just to make sure I got him because I thought I'd miss out on him. So I think I took him in like maybe the 110, 111 range. So
doesn't it make all those rookie drafts that he went at like the mid-second round that went off at like a month and a half ago? Like those types. That's why everybody's always trying to rush their rookie draft to start right as soon as the draft is over. And I'm like, nah, man, I like to give it at least a month and a half to really let the dust settle and kind of see what we're hearing out of these mini camps and these rookie camps and stuff before I start getting my rookie draft line up together,
Side note, I got in an argument with a guy not really an argument, but a conversation with a waiter at one time, and he said that Bo Nix will be the most talented quarterback in this class. So,
well, that's not true because Bo Nix is already not the most talented quarterback in this class.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
has nothing to do with where they end up playing in the long run.
Yeah, he was very confident that Bo Nix will be the stud that we all missed out on, and this is just a waiter at a restaurant. So
he must not have watched any of his Auburn games.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we will see. I mean, Sean Payton, he did do pretty good with Drew Brees, even though Drew Brees was he's already a veteran quarterback at that time. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they invested a lot into him, and there's really like I said, I don't think he doesn't really have a lot of competition pushing him. So it's all on him. So but I've seen him creeping up them rookie draft boards a little bit. So
hey, you guys feel free to take him if you guys want it up there that high. If that means that 5 quarterbacks go in the first round, that second round's looking really nice.
True. So okay, we'll get into another nugget that I'm kind of looking over, and I'm seeing Saquon Barkley, his value in these drafts. He's starting to creep up into the early second round now, and Ken and I, we do a lot of player prop stuff, and that 6.5 touchdown prop for the year is looking really, really good and really, really juicy. So I want to talk to the panel and see if one, what's this, do they expect this offense to transition into maybe more of a running offense, or kind of like what maybe the Niners do where, they do a little bit of passing, a little bit of running. But what do you guys think about that? I know what Ken thinks about this 6.5 touchdown prop, but I'm going to go to Connor and I mean, is that something that we're just smashing, as far as a prop bet?
So I think on the last pod I said, I think his line was at 7.5. The last time I was on, it was 7.5. And I said, I'm not like confident in that. I think 6.5 is a little more fair. I'm not big into prop betting regardless. Also not a big RB drafter. If anybody's ever been in a draft with me, I'm a 0 RB guy all the way. I mean,
thank you for that, by the way.
I think our Guillotine league, I'm the last one to draft a running back. Also, our Dynasty league, I'm also the last one to draft a running back. So, but.
So does that mean yay or nay on the 6.5?
I would take the over on the 6.5. But like I said, I'm not. I still think Jalen Hurts gets the goal line carries.
Really?
It's just hard.
I'm gonna have to agree with 70 show down there. I like the over on the 6.5, man, for sure. It's definitely a good bet in my opinion. I think they're gonna run the ball a lot more with him on the goal line than they did, back before when they had the tush push running on a regular basis. So I think they're gonna shy away from that. I think it's part of the reason they brought Barkley in the first place. So that's kind of my opinion. I think 6.5 is a good bet to go over with.
All right, yeah, and do you have anything to add besides the prop bet? What about the offense? Ken? I mean, do you think Barkley in this? Because I know in this offense they really don't throw to the running back that much. They never really did it with Swift that much. I mean, do you think Barkley will be a little bit more involved in the passing game?
I think he has to, because there's really no one behind him that I feel is confident. And then on top of that, I don't think it's talked about enough with Kelsey gone. I don't think they do the tush push anymore with Hurts. They can't, risk it with him getting injured. And I just think, they bring Barkley in for the contract that they gave him to be the guy that's on the goal line and maybe, 5 yards out, and they give it to him and they don't put that on Hurts. Because if Hurts gets done, then, that whole offense comes down.
What is Hurts' rushing touchdown line? Because I know last year it was quite high. It was like 10.5, and he still smashed the over. So I didn't know if it's...
he had 15 touchdowns last year. So that's a good point. I mean, to look into that. I mean, it'd be interesting. What was it? What was it last year? You said 10.5?
I believe it was 10.5 on underdog. I think that's the only one legal here in Texas that I could ever. I think I took the under. So I was not happy about that. So
if Trevor's here listening, then he can look it up for us on his Underdog app since he's in California.
Yeah, that sucks. In Michigan and Florida, we can't get on Underdog.
Yeah, I can't do it here in Nevada either.
That sucks. So but no, I kind of agree with Ken here. I think there's a reason why they brought in Barkley. They brought in to take pressure off of Hurts. You don't want your quarterback going flying into the line like that, taking unnecessary hits. Unless he, really, really has to, but they brought him in for a reason. They brought him in for a reason. I'm surprised that the Giants, traded him to a team in their division. He didn't go somewhere else. But I think he's going to have I think this will be the best year Barkley has, as far as like statistics wise. I think he's set up for a pretty good year. Obviously, assuming he stays healthy, which. He's had some injury risk in the past, but I would definitely invest in Barkley. If I don't know if I would go at the beginning of the second, but in the middle of the second, if I needed a running back, I mean, I guess I'd have to see who's on the board, but I don't think that's a hefty price to pay for him. Okay, we'll get into one other player that was brought to my attention earlier, and a little bit of news on Gus Edwards, coming out of LA. He's getting a lot of the touches. They believe he's going to be the clear lead back in this offense, which is going to be, from what we're hearing, more run eccentric. You have J.K. Dobbins behind him, who's not really the most healthy running back, and then they drafted Vidal, the rookie, who, like I've said in previous pods, he's kind of a Blake Horn clone. So I'm going to start with Ken, since he brought it up. Would you rather draft Gus Edwards at his ADP? I know you're not drafting J.K. Dobbins, or would you rather wait and take Vidal at his ADP in this offense?
Gus Edwards.
I
just see Gus Edwards as being that back for them. I don't think Dobbins stays healthy. I've never been a Dobbins fan. I think Vidal will have a part in the offense, but I think this is Gus Bus's, this is him. And they're just going to run him into the ground. And I kind of hope they do, because right now, even if you go out and trade him, especially in Dynasty World, you can get him pretty cheap for a good RB2. So for me, I like deals, and I think he's a player that you can get a good deal on.
Sean.
Oh, no.
How about you, Sean? I see you shaking your head.
I'm going to go ahead and have to disagree with you on that one. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be all about GKD in that offense, man. Dobbins is going to come in strong and healthy and take that backfield over.
Buddy, no.
Yes.
There's no way.
I'm saying it here live on this pod. JK is going to be the old JK. He's going to come back tough. You guys are going to be like, where'd this guy come from?
All right, hold on. All right, hold on. Are you going to tell me that Dobbins is going to have better stats than Gus Edwards?
Pub sub.
I feel like I might be down for a little pub sub on that
There's
one.
no way. This is going to be the easiest bet all season.
Bet.
Hey, I've already got enough pub subs, man. I could afford to lose one.
Connor, you want to break this tie?
Edwards, I mean, I took him in Guillotine. I mean, he's the first running back taken.
My man.
But one side note, the Jalen Hurts underdog rushing touchdown is 10.5 this year as well.
Wow.
So that's quite. I mean, they're still expecting him to get the goal line carries, especially
So smash the under on Jalen and the over on.
So are you
Barkley?
taking the under then?
It burned me last year, so I mean,
I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the over. Everybody else is taking the. I mean,
I'm taking the under still because, like we talked about, the whole thing about that tush push is leverage, man. And Kelsey was the main man about leverage. He was a short, stout dude that was able to get lower than everybody.
Connor, how
We
many
don't have that anymore.
Connor, how many touchdowns do you think Barkley will have this year?
probably 7, 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I like I said, I still think that Jalen Hurts gets the goal line carries. Or I mean, they showed no slowing down last year. I know they lost Kelsey, and I know they got Barkley.
Watch the first couple tush pushes not work, and then they abandon that for the rest of the year, and it's gone.
It was unstoppable last year. I mean, I think I mean, NFL is all about teaching, so I think they could easily teach their new center. I'm not sure who it is. Is it Landon Dickerson? I'm not sure, but
I think my opinion. I think what they're gonna do is they brought in Barkley. They're gonna try to run him in and onto the goal line, and if it doesn't work and he gets stuffed, then maybe they'll revert back to the tush push. But
the tush push is a skill set, just like being a good runner, man. You can't just expect any center to step in and be able to do it. Otherwise, every team in the league had been doing it.
you still have Jalen Hurts that squats 7,000 pounds too. So I mean, he's a big part of it. You can't give all the credit to the center. I mean, Jalen Hurts has proven that he can do it. So,
well, not everybody can survive like a dislocated knee doing a quarterback sneak like Patrick Mahomes. So, let one of those happen to him and he's out for the year. They'll think twice about doing that again.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to just take the discount, and I don't trust J.K. Dobbins to stay healthy. And I'm gonna go with Vidal. I like I said, I think he's got the clone like Corum. And Jim Harbaugh is a crazy dude, so I could totally see him really falling in love with this guy if he turns out to be really good.
Is that a 3-way pub sub bet right there?
I'm not saying he's gonna.
The winner of the bet gets 2 pub subs, one from each person.
I'm not saying he's gonna outproduce Gus Edwards. I'm just saying that it could potentially be a split backfield. I don't think they're gonna give all the carries to Gus Edwards.
Hey, I think a real man would put a sub on it.
I think Vidal ends up better than Dobbins, but Gus Edwards finishes better than both of them.
what round was Vidal drafted in? Like the 7th, 6th?
No, I think he was like a 4th rounder.
Okay,
Was it?
Yeah,
I thought he was late 5th or something like that. I could be wrong. Though.
So, but I mean, he had a pretty good, out of Troy. I mean, I know it's Troy, but he had like 1 million yards there. So like I said, I don't know if they plan on doing this running offense and run 1 million times. They're going to need more than just one running back. They can't just run all with Gus Edwards all the time. So we'll see. But I don't know. We could all be wrong, and Sean could be right, and he's
and Trevor. We got to give Trevor props because he just agreed with me in the thread.
he was drafted in the 6th round, by the way.
Really,
Trevor is also wrong.
There's only a 3.2% hit rate in the 6th round of the NFL draft. So for running backs, so very, very unlikely that Vidal is anything.
Hey, we don't talk statistics on this pod, man.
All right, my bad. I was just looking at the sheet because I was like, I thought he was drafted later than that.
Well, I guess, like I said, we will see what happens. But okay, well, that'll wrap it up for news, notes, and nugs, and we are going to transition into some Redraft ADP talk. Like I said, we are doing very well with our high stakes, mid stakes, and low stakes redraft leagues. A lot of good players in there. A lot of wild trading, and we plan on having these all filled before the season, and that would be like 30 leagues, 10 in each league, and we're going to do a little bit of ADP talk. So, Sean, do you want to bring up some slides?
All right. So this is we want to talk about the second league or the first league first?
Well, we can talk about the first league.
All right. That is this one. Bam. All right. So this one we had Mr. Ben doing this. Westlex, Pablo Escobar, myself, TB76, Finch GDX, Chiefs Life 13, Love John, Jojo, Twin Sanity, Mucho, and Short Stack 11.
Okay, so Alex, our Presidente, did some averages for some players, and what he did is he took league 1 through 5 and did some averages on some players that we were kind of interested in knowing what their average ADP was. So just some guys that we threw out there. One was Joe Burrow. His ADP average was 2.4, which seems like it's kind of dropping. His high was 107 and his low was 212. In this league, where did he go?
Burrow?
Right in the middle.
Yeah, he was 207.
207. Okay, so let's talk about Joe Burrow real quick, and I'm gonna go with Ken, because I know me and Ken always argue about Joe Burrow all the time. Ken, why do you think Joe Burrow is dropping in these drafts?
I think he's dropping just because of kind of the worry of his injuries lately, and kind of just I feel like the Bengals have had a lot being talked about this year with Higgins and them bringing in new players and all this stuff. And I just think on top of that, with Burrow's injury history the last couple of years, which I believe is unlucky, I just think people are just kind of more worried to draft him where he is, which has led to him just dropping.
Got you. Okay, now we'll go to Barkley. So I'm seeing Barkley creep up a little bit. Can you find out where Barkley is on there, Sean?
211.
Okay, so West took him at 211. So he went. Did he go? He went before. Who's after Barkley? I'm just seeing.
Got Kyron Williams after him, and then ETN was the next one, about 6 picks later.
Okay, we'll go with Connor. Since we already talked about Barkley, do you think that's a good spot for him, or would you take Kyron Williams or ETN over him? I know you're not taking him over Jonathan Taylor or Gibbs, but do you think that's a sweet spot for Barkley, Connor, or do you think you'd rather take Williams or ETN over him?
I think as a running back, that I mean, his position is great. I would like to have him over Williams or ETN. I mean, I would even consider him over Taylor. Honestly, the Colts offense scares me. All the situation there last year was just horrendous. His owner basically said that he could go away. Forget about that. But I'm not sure that Taylor can stay healthy either. I like Barkley a little bit more. Personally, I'm not taking any running back in the second round. As I've said multiple times, I'm a 0 RB drafter. So, but I do, as a running back, I do like that spot for him.
Okay. And then we'll get into some, let's see, these two receivers. We'll get into Zay Flowers. So Sean, so right here it says his ADP is 6.08. The high is 6.3. The low is 7.4. So where did Zay go in this draft?
Flowers?
Yeah.
I took him at 7.4, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Dun, 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 dun. So do you want to know who I took him over potentially?
Yes.
So he was sitting on the board for me. Kirk went right before him. I probably would have taken Kirk over him potentially, but I ended up going with him over Jaden Reed and Terry McLaurin were the next 2 picks back to back right after it. Then the following 2 receivers that went were Godwin and Allen.
Would you have taken Zay Flowers or George Pickens? If Pickens
That's a tough one. I probably do still take Flowers just because I don't have confidence in the Pittsburgh quarterback situation. And you still got Harbaugh and Lamar together. So I just feel like consistency wise, I think I just got more faith that we're going to get the same kind of thing from Flowers. Whereas Pickens is more of an up in the air.
Okay. And then I know we didn't get, I don't think Alex had time to do this one, but I know Connor wanted to talk about Kyler.
I think he's probably the most underdrafted quarterback right now. Looking at,
where did he go in this draft?
This one, I think he went to 208 or 209.
He went right after Burrow.
Talking about Taylor?
No,
Murray.
Oh, Murray, yeah, 2.9.
Yeah. I think he's probably a top 5 to top 7 QB. I'm taking him over Burrow. I'm taking him over Richardson just because of Richardson's injury history. I think Richardson's ceiling's higher, but I'm taking him over both of those.
I promise you guys, we did not plan it out that I had 2 of the players that we were talking about today.
And you had J.K. Dobbins down
not
there.
in the plan.
Yeah.
Oh, I did have J.K. Dobbins too. Jeez, look at that.
And T.J. Hawkinson. Look at it.
Yeah, I think I agree with Connor. I think Kyler Murray is criminally undervalued in these super flex drafts. I mean, these players going before him. I mean, Puka Nacua, and I'm not taking a running back over him, and I just think, that was Sean.
The one I see a lot is Prescott. So where are you guys at, Prescott Murray? They're usually right there, and they're flip-flopped a lot of times.
I think Prescott is criminally undervalued too. I mean,
do you have him over Murray?
I would take him over Murray just because of the offense hasn't changed. It's going to be a pass offense again, and he just had a monster year last year. I think, and people really aren't really talking about the year that he had last year.
So my issue with that is that you're getting Murray at floor and you're getting Dak at ceiling. And for me, I would much rather buy Murray because I think his weapons and everything around him have gotten better. Dak's have not changed.
If anything, they got worse.
Exactly.
Backfield.
So for me, let's be honest. What do you say? They have oatmeal pants and, in Dallas world.
That's another soundbite we need to record. Scott
so,
calling Zeke oatmeal pants.
So it's just, I just would much rather have Murray over Dak, especially where they are, especially right where they went back to back here in this draft. I also need to say something on Flowers because I'm a big fan of Flowers. Not that I like agreeing with Sean, which it pains me to.
This is 3 in a row, by the way.
I like Flowers as a whole, as a player. You try to get wide receiver ones on your team, and the fact that you got a top wide, and I think Flowers will be between 10 and 15 in terms of ranking for wide receivers this year. I just think that's great value where you get him.
Yeah, wide receiver 3 on my team.
I agree, and I would have taken him over Higgins as well. I mean, you got them both, but I would have taken him over Higgins.
I agree.
That one. That one's pushing it for me. I think maybe you could convince me Cooper, but I don't know about Higgins.
So one's a wide receiver 1 and one's a wide receiver 2.
I know. I get that, but Higgins put up wide receiver 1 numbers as a wide receiver 2 when they were both healthy before.
He was terrible last year. Last year.
Last year, Burrow was out most of the year and everything.
I agree. Another thing on Dak,
a little bit for him.
Another thing on Dak, he also lost his starting left tackle. I mean, they lost Tyron Smith. He was a huge part of Dallas's offense. I know Tortoise can tell you. I think their win percentage was like in the 90s when he played, and in the 50s or 60s when he didn't. So.
And we talked about, and I just not to change the subject, but we talked about Devontae Adams, and just for reference, he went 310 in this league.
Oh, Alex.
God dang.
McLaurin over Flowers. And,
Oh my goodness! Come on.
Alex, you're just saying that to rile everybody up.
Oh, gee. He did do the analysis on Kyler, so it looks like
ADP is at 21.6.
Yeah, 21.6.
Yeah, 210 is his high, 110 low.
So
301 is
301
kind
average. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty undervalued right
Okay.
there. Alex wants a pub sub on that.
Oh, it's his average is 210, his high is 110, his low is 301.
Yeah, if I'm getting Kyler at the 301, I'm very, very happy. I'll tell you.
Yeah, we're
wow.
Yeah, you're doing cartwheels
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. Like one of our leagues, one of these high leagues, I'm not sure if it's this other league too that we were going to talk about as well, but one of our high leagues, it absolutely like Burrow fell all the way to the 210 in that league. And the guy who had Josh Allen got Joe Burrow on the turn.
Yeah, that's you
I just could not
you can't
believe it.
as much as I'm not the biggest Joe Burrow fan, everybody knows. I mean, if I see him in the middle of the second round, I mean it's hard to pass up the talent there. I mean it's he should never make it that far. I mean
I have to ask Connor a question, and he knows why I'm about to ask him this. Chase or Murray in a super flex?
Chase or Murray in a super in redraft?
Yeah.
Chase.
Okay.
But I mean,
if it's Chase in Dynasty, it's Murray.
No. I took Chase in their dynasty as well. I mean,
yeah, no, he did because he traded up for him.
Yeah.
Remember, we chastised.
That is why I'm asking the question, because a couple pods back, or maybe more than couple, he and I were back-to-back picks, and he took Chase and I took Murray, and let's just say it was kind of funny talking about that round.
You too. Why do we keep ending up next to everybody too? Like me and Connor have landed up next to each other in like 2 or 3 straight drafts now, and it's driving me up a wall, dude.
I'm taking Corum. Give me Corum. I want the Max Kellerman. I want $8, but I want Corum. This is my.
Oh, and by the way, I take Kyron Williams over Saquon Barkley. Just throwing that out there.
No.
Really?
Yes.
Redraft?
It's all about carries, baby. It's all about carries.
Redraft?
Yeah, redraft or in our Guillotine league specifically, I did it.
I like Saquon over Kyron in Dynasty too, and so
No, not
Oh, Sean.
Moving on.
Oh, Sean.
pub sub or no? Are you not confident in that one?
What, the Saquon Kyron pub sub? I mean, God, I'm gonna be so full, you know. I still want to be able to fit into my jerseys.
Into your pockets on that one.
I got a quick either or for you guys. Redraft. Amon-Ra or Jamar Chase, Sean.
Yeah.
I'm seeing
Chase.
St. Brown is. I mean, I don't know where he went in this draft. Yeah, look at him. He went
1-9,
over
110, right next door to each other.
So JoJo took him over Chase, and I'm seeing him creep up into the getting past Jefferson and past Chase, and in some of these redrafts. So,
and don't get me wrong, I love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was one of those people who's got him in a ton of leagues because I was taking him in like the 3rd round before, and people were laughing about it. And now I'm the one laughing. So I love Amon-Ra, but Jamar Chase to me is just a different level. You know, like the ability for Jamar Chase, and then if T. Higgins leaves after this season, and he's like definitely the full number 1 with the number 2 there instead of a 1A 1B scenario.
we're just talking about this year. So this is.
Oh yeah, true. Okay. Well, even way this year. I mean, who knows if T. Higgins is still going to even be there this year, right? We're still up in the air on all that. So
I don't think.
But I still think I'd take Chase over Amon-Ra. I still do.
What about you, Ken?
Give me Chase.
And I know Connor likes Chase over Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I take Amon-Ra over Jefferson, but I think that's where it ends. I still prefer Chase.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of drafts where these guys are like interchangeable. Amon-Ra, Chase, and Jefferson. They're all like, it seems like it's that little pocket where they're all getting interchanged.
Well, I mean, Jefferson has been sliding. Like, I feel like criminally at this point. Like I understand not taking him in front of like those other three or other four receivers right here, but to let him fall, like I've seen him fall all the way to, I want to say like 2.7 or something. He fell to something ridiculous.
I think he could be. I think he's the one receiver out of that group with Chase. Well, I can't probably can't say that with Chase, but I think Jefferson's quarterback proof. I think no matter who's throwing on they'll find a way to get him the ball. And I don't know why everyone's also scared of Sam Darnold, because I mean, I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy, but even shitty quarterbacks can force feed the ball to a receiver. And
I think I disagree with that. When he played with DJ Moore, I mean, DJ Moore last year had horrible quarterbacks, and it was still better than Sam Darnold when he played with Sam Darnold. So,
yeah, I don't know.
Sam Darnold. I'm telling you, man, Sam Darnold's going to have a year this year. He's another one you guys got to watch out for.
Big Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but is he going to produce Jefferson as a top 5 wide receiver?
I don't see why he couldn't. If he listens to Kevin O'Connell, I mean, the dude's already shown that he can teach quarterbacks how to play. I think it's not like Darnold's not talented.
Darnold will be better than what he was in Carolina, but Sam Darnold will still not be better. He will still be in the bottom tier of quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I'm drafting Darnold late rounds, but I'm not confident he can produce a top 5 wide receiver. I mean, top 7, top 8 maybe, but top 5 is with Hill, Lamb, St. Brown, Chase.
So if McCarthy gets in there, I mean, are you back on the Justin Jefferson train then?
I mean, you shouldn't be off of the Jefferson train.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Jefferson is still going to put up big numbers. I agree with Connor on the fact that I don't know kind of what will happen with his numbers with Darnold, but out of that entire offense, he's the only wide receiver that will be consistent. Ones that might take a hit are everyone else, even my boy Hawk. But at the end of the day, Jefferson is still, Jefferson. You got to take him up at the top.
So look at this draft board and look where he fell all the way to 2.6. I said 7. It was actually 2.
Going after AJ Brown is kind of criminal. That's
right.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I granted they did go a little quarterback happy because I was sitting there in the draft, so they freaked out a little bit and went crazy on quarterbacks before I got my second pick just to make sure.
Yeah. Look where St. Brown went. Over Chase, over Jefferson, over.
Yeah, and that wasn't actually an auto pick. He actually picked that one and then ended up getting autoed Bijan.
I'm gonna probably be the outlier, but why in the world did Tortoise take take Hall with his first pick?
Breece Hall?
Yeah.
I mean, that's his second rated running back at that point in the draft. He felt like it was a good move. And he was hoping Richardson would fall to him, and he ended up going. So that's why he went Prescott here.
I like the build so far with who was that guy, Aragon or whatever, the guy that picked
right here with Stroud and Murray. Of course you do.
I mean, look how beautiful.
Of course you do.
Look how beautiful that is.
I like that team. I also like Cash's
pick, bro. You're obviously on the clock right now.
I like Cash's team too. Hill, Jefferson, and then comes around with.
Oh, that's Sean's best friend.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I was irritated. I actually tried to trade up to this pick that ended up going auto, so I could snag either him or Bijan right there. And then he ended up getting autoed and he got Bijan. And then this guy ended up sitting there for a while with trade offers and took Kyler. And then he ended up sneaking his way into Jefferson because he ain't gonna trade with me.
I like Pablo's team too. He started with Hurts, got Love, and then came back with ETN. He's gonna have a problem with receivers, but receivers are pretty deep.
This is the first time I've gone in these high drafts without taking a quarterback back to back on my first 2 picks.
I hate that team, Sean. Absolutely hate it.
I know you do because of the running back.
Sean,
you should have taken Love.
Yeah, Sean, I would have taken Love over that one.
Over Jahmyr Gibbs, you'd have taken Love right there?
Yeah, 100%.
I considered it a lot. I really did. But I was looking at it going, all right, a lot of these guys are taking their backs. They're going to start taking some of these position players. And I was looking at the board, and honestly, I think this right here is a terrible pick. It's also only a terrible pick because it irritates the hell out of me because that was my target on the way back around. figuring that all these other quarterbacks would go first, and Jaden would be sitting there ready for me to take in like the third or top of fourth. But then
Adams.
he goes and puts a monkey wrench right into my plan.
So you still have Adams and London on the board right here?
Yeah, so here's the full board, bro. We've got
I don't like that pick, by the way.
Porter, Kelsey, Purdy, Olave, Adams, London. I don't like the Jaden Daniels pick either. Just in general, I think he had a lot of better options on the board.
I would take Herbert, Purdy, well over. I would take Daniels.
I would too.
Yeah, I think he could have got Daniels on the way back. I agree. Even if he wanted Daniels, I think he's on the board when he comes back around.
Yeah, exactly. And because of what I scared everybody into with the quarterbacks, we're going to have a really good picks on the way back around. So,
well, and the one guy
got a solid player right there.
The one guy that made a huge mistake, in my opinion, obviously, is the guy in the one hole by letting Brock Purdy get past him. Brock Purdy is so criminally undervalued in that offense. He's not a system quarterback. He's.
You would take Brock Purdy with CMC on your team already?
Yep.
Why not?
What about the
second running back and quarterback?
I'm
invested. Nobody's not commenting on the White pick.
Connor, I'm glad that you said that because I was like,
what is going on here?
Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah.
305 over quarterbacks, over Adams, London, Olave. I mean, there's
actually
Aiden and Pachenko were the next two backs available.
I hate to say it, but I think, Sean, this is your worst starting draft that I've seen you do.
I agree. Get on him.
Like, Sean, you
watch. This is the league that I win now. Watch.
I don't understand.
Only one. What's up?
I just don't understand. You pass on Love for Gibbs. Okay, fine. Even if I wanted to give you a little leeway, you take Derrick Henry, which, okay, but again, you could have solidified your quarterbacks and you go with running backs.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot at it, brother.
Brock Purdy was sitting right there for you.
Also, I don't like D. Cardi's pick either for Tua. Like, you have 4 picks in a row that I just don't like. Yes, I'm being very critical right now.
You said 4 picks. He's only picked 3.
No, I said I didn't like those 4 in a row. Derrick Henry, White, Tua, and Daniels.
But White is obviously the worst pick there. There's no way his ADP is even in the
no.
I wouldn't say that White's the worst pick because he was the next best back, and he obviously got scared of the backs going off the board like they did, so he kind of jumped in on the run. But Daniels to me was the bigger reach.
What receivers are still on the board right now?
Adams, London, Olave.
Yeah,
Olave, Adams, London, Ayuk, Pittman, Evans, Diggs.
Yeah, there's too many good receivers left. I think after maybe. Do you guys like ETN over those receivers or no?
Don't ask me. I'm taking all of those receivers over any running back. So
I know Ken. What about you, Sean?
So I like the receivers, like, in just like general context, I do like a lot of those receivers over Derrick Henry, for example, even though I took Henry. The reason I took Henry is the drop off on running back tier wise for me was drastic. And if I waited on another running back, my second back is going to be crap. So in this redraft strategy right here that I'm trying to utilize, I wanted to make sure I secured my backs to get those 2 backs like locked down, good to go, and the like weakest position in the league, in my opinion.
I would rather have Adams there and then take Zamir White or
of course. You've taken a shot that Zamir White's going to be a stud, whereas at least I know with Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs, they're both going to get a good amount of carries every week as long as they stay healthy. And I don't have to worry about like trying to expect some guy to come up from the ranks,
Sean, you said that White wasn't the worst pick in this spot. I would have to disagree. I would have taken ETN over White.
ETN wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there.
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood.
I would have taken ETN over Henry. So believe me, I wanted ETN, and he went.
What's the next running back? Pacheco
and who was it? There was one other guy that was in between before Pacheco. I just can't remember.
Receivers.
I take Pacheco over White, but that's me.
Yeah.
Achan. It's Achan.
Achan, Cook. I mean,
Pacheco. Jacobs is out there too. But I think Jacobs, in my opinion, Jacobs ranking, he's behind Achan and Cook. to me.
So I think that where gamers make a mistake is valuing their second running back too high. Like, I think the second running back on your team should be the weakest position on your team. I think you should address receiver, quarterback in a super flex, and prioritize that over a second running back.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. And I don't like running backs.
How do you not
agree with that?
I
I
do
agree.
not agree with
I don't agree with it is because the depth at wide receiver is so strong that you can get that strong 2 running backs and still have a really, really good wide receiver core that's going to score you just close to what these guys that are taking them early are going to score. You know,
and the reason why my philosophy, I like that, is my philosophy is there are so many running backs every year that get injured. There's so many times you can pick guys up off the waiver wire to fill that number 2 spot and get you 10, 11, 12 points where you're passing on an elite quarterback right there or an elite receiver in that spot. So,
I don't know. That's like drafting just to trade. And, you know, I'm not a fan of stuff like that. So,
there's so, okay. So
has anybody ever been bitten by Cam Akers? Like, I'm pretty sure he was a 3rd round draft pick last year. So.
Yeah, I get your point, Scott. I do. I understand your point. I just don't think that it's that easy to fill that RB2 role as you're making it out to be.
So,
and let's hear what Ken's opinion, because I know Ken's got something to say, and I cut him off. I don't want to leave him hanging.
So I'm gonna throw one. I know we don't do stats on here, but I got to throw this one out there. The top 24 quarterbacks are the top 24 running backs. Every running back averaged missing 5 games a season out of top 24. So out of the top 24 running backs, they're gonna miss at least 5 games.
All the more reason to have 2.
No, that you can pick up. You can pick them up on the waivers. I'd much rather pass on.
Yeah, but if you only have 1 and that's the one that gets hurt, now you're struggling because your second guy is this like maybe so-so guy, and then now you're trying to find the backup as to replace your 1.
Well, you would obviously, when you're drafting, if I'm passing on my RB2 early, obviously in the back end of the draft, I'm going to fill up on running backs, handcuffs, guys with upside. So I'm going to have a good running back stable later on down the road. So if a guy does go down, I'm sure I'll be able to fill him with somebody.
I don't like to put myself in the position where I need to do something like that.
All right. What's your take, Connor? I know you're agreeing with me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You're sounding like me. I hate drafting running backs.
We all know Connor's opinion. I want to hear what Ken has to say.
Ken already hated on me.
Scott keeps avoiding Ken. He's like, yeah, but let me talk for a second, and then I'm gonna pass it to Connor.
Well, why do y'all not? I personally draft in like value wise. I mean, obviously, I would love to have Tua or Daniels or Adams value wise over Henry. Somebody in the chat said trade value top 12 is higher than a running back, and I mean that's true. You could easily. I think during the season you could trade Tua for Henry plus, or
Yeah, I'm not arguing the quarterback aspect. I'm not.
So
I just in this situation, it seemed like a lot of these guys were like, screw you, Sean. We're not making trades with you this draft. So I figured I need to start making sure that I could get the players I need when I can get them. So I ended up reaching on Henry because I wanted to have that RB2 spot covered.
what are you gonna do if
that is gross? And so the reason, Sean, you're wrong, which I mean that with love, and I just kind of wanted to say that because TJ in the chat, he and I have talked about this before, and he and I absolutely agree on this. Any single time running backs always get hurt, and I hate running backs. I did one draft, and I took JT and ETN, and it was the most disgusting thing I ever did, and I should have went wide receiver. And I should have stuck to my game.
Didn't we talk about that draft just a couple pods ago?
I'm just bringing it up. My point is I could care less about running backs, and I just would much rather take wide receivers or quarterbacks over them. So, Sean, I'm sorry, but I completely disagree with you.
Hey, it's fine. It's different philosophies, brother.
All right. So Alex said in the chat, why don't we bring up like another board and see how many running backs went in the first 3 rounds? Maybe go like
I got this one right here.
Okay,
This
so
is-
that
this
we're
is
back
League
at Wolverine. We're back at high stakes 1.
What do y'all think of CMC going the 101 and instead of Allen in that last draft? Would y'all do that? Take
No,
CMC
Not
over Allen
not in a
in
super
a super flex?
no,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Not a super flex.
That changed the entire draft too, right? CMC starting out like that, and all the running
Okay.
backs moved early.
So look how many running backs went in the first 3 rounds here. There's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 running backs went in the first 3 rounds.
Wait, is Alex still in? Wait, is Alex still in here right now?
Yeah, he's right
Oh,
there.
perfect. I gotta say something.
Uh-oh.
All right. So, Sean, you went back you started off with having a good first 2 rounds again, so great job.
Oh yeah, that's right. I am in this one.
Alex, I don't know why, but
Barkley.
why would you? I would take Jordan Love over Barkley 10 out of 10 times every single day. And that one kind of questioned for me is because you could have had Mahomes and Love and still gone a top running back there if you really wanted one. And I don't think Love and Purdy are that close.
I'm with you on that. I think because they're much pass happier offense in Green Bay. So I got Love over Purdy for sure.
The only reason I had to give Alex a little bit of a hard time is every single time I see him do a trade or he trades up in a draft, he absolutely gets the better side of it. And this is the one time I had to give Alex a hard time.
But he didn't make any trades up there. Look what he did over here. He traded for McLaurin and Levis. So you talking about filling out your squad.
I mean, that's a pretty nice start right there. I mean, Purdy, Mahomes, Barkley, and then he got Collins and Pittman. It's not a bad start.
Yeah, and McLaurin as his wide receiver 3.
Yeah, and then he picked up Kincaid, so that with the trade. So not a bad start. I mean,
you know why he did that too, right? Look who's sitting right here, 2 picks behind where he took Kincaid.
Yeah. He sniped you.
He purposely did. He was working it too, like for 4 or 5 picks in a row every time. DM, mailbox. He was working the phones trying to get ahead of me. Oh man.
So you guys in the chat that are watching us here, if you guys have questions, throw them out there. We'll answer some questions before we get into the. We're gonna head on over when we get out of here to the Guillotine League that we just finished. The $25.
Hey, Ryan's in here.
We want to. There's some players that wanted us to evaluate their team, so we're gonna get into that too.
Alex, there is no chance. I'm sorry that Love. No, I disagree with what you said in the chat.
Barkley over Kyron, and then more than Love over Purdy. What did I make you hurt you so bad, Trevor? That's funny.
The reason is when I drafted Christian McCaffrey and he hurt me so bad those 2 seasons. That is what made me never want to touch a running back again.
So you're going to hold that against all these other guys that have done nothing wrong to you.
Because Christian McCaffrey is like tip top and there's no one that has matched him.
2, 3, 4.
Christian was had a couple of years ago where Christian was all injury prone, this and that, and all that stuff. He just had a couple of good years now where he didn't get hurt and everybody forgot all about that.
So this is Beast right here. We're looking at Beast, high stakes number 2. Same thing. 8 running backs went in the first 3 rounds. But in this draft, like Connor pointed out earlier, CMC went number 1 in a super flex. And yeah, so he went number 1 in super flex, which I've seen it in a couple drafts before, but it's obviously it's not the way I would want to go. I don't think anyone on this panel would go in that direction, but I do see it.
What about the Jacobs over ETN?
Yeah, I don't like that.
What about Henry over ETN?
I don't
Like
mind
a whole round ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean the gap is kind of large, but I don't mind taking Henry over ETN just because of I think he's going to get a lot of carries, but the Jacobs over ETN and is just crazy.
Yeah, I don't like the Jacobs over ETN. I don't like Jacobs over any of those three that went in a row right after that, ETN, Pacheco, or HN.
Or Adams fell to the 410. Is that right?
410?
Dang.
Yep. They fell to 410.
Oh,
Yeah, that's just so bad.
Because we had this crazy quarterback run right up here in the top of the third, top of the fourth.
And that's why I'm saying if you lock up your quarterbacks early, then people start to scramble and then drops all that value down.
Yeah, but I mean, like DK Metcalf went
a
before
different
Adams.
strategy. Leave me alone.
JK went before, Jacobs went before Adams. That's like almost a whole round.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's
the one who I think benefited the most from all this is team 2 was Stoney. I think that team right there looks pretty scary, man. You got Allen, Murray, Taylor, Collins, Waddle, Kirk, Mixon, Johnson, Ingram. Even his bench isn't bad. He's got Eckler and McLaughlin on his bench.
The only thing I don't like about that team is he doesn't have like a dominant wide receiver one. I mean,
Nico could be a dominant wide receiver one.
Yeah, but he has a lot of target competition there with Dell and Diggs. I mean, it's not a bad team by any means. I'm always scared to not ever have, a guaranteed wide receiver one.
That's because you're such a wide receiver baby, man. You love your wide receivers. Running backs suck. Quarterbacks suck. Wide receivers are the best.
Hey, Sean.
Yes.
Do wide receivers or running backs last longer in the league?
Well, wide receivers, of course, but this is a redraft, brother. We don't care about that.
What do you guys think about, like, I'm looking at all these draft boards. It seems like, I know, and this is redraft. It's not dynasty. And I'm getting confused on why Jaden Daniels is getting drafted ahead of, people like Justin Herbert.
Where did he go?
I think
Jared Goff.
I can't believe he went over Goff, Herbert, and Lawrence in this. That was,
Lawrence,
in my opinion, unbelievable.
I don't understand the love for a rookie quarterback and redraft that early.
Yeah, me neither. Especially in redraft. Like everything else, I can understand it in other places like Dynasty, but in redraft, it just confuses me big time because every quarterback usually takes a little time to get their wings under them. Unless your name is Patrick Mahomes, like you're not going to hit the ground running.
Well, he sat out a season.
Right.
I agree. I don't think I take Daniels over maybe any of those quarterbacks that went. I'm taking him over Kirk Cousins, but besides, I might take him over Williams as well, maybe. But I think the upside is what draws people's attention to Daniels. He has maybe one of the highest ceilings out of any of those picks right there.
Maybe, but he's also got the opportunity to get one hit and done.
That's what I'm saying. But that has nothing. That's not upside. That's floor. I just think the upside is what. Yeah. It's the same thing with Anthony Richardson. Like Anthony Richardson did go play one game again and be out the whole season, but he's still getting drafted in the.
Yeah, I think I take Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels right now. To be honest, I think he's got a better opportunity as far as the team around him to start out more consistent. And I think people forget that he's not just a sit in the pocket passer guy either. He can run when he wants to. So I think I take Caleb over him. I just like that up a lot better than I'm not confident Washington's going to be able to do much this year.
I don't think Herbert's ADP right now is getting talked about enough for how much of a deal I think he is. And where he's getting dropped to. I think that's another guy for anyone who does redraft that you go get him at his floor, and anything above his floor is going to be gravy for you. So there
was no specific reason why I haven't brought him up or anything. So I appreciate you talking about him, Ken.
Where would you feel comfortable taking Herbert? Are you taking Herbert or Purdy? Like, are you taking him around that 301 range?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's how I look at it. The 4 quarterbacks not named Purdy that are up here that went before him, I would take him over all of them.
You take Purdy over Love, Henry, Prescott, Richardson?
No. I take Purdy over. I think I would pass on Richardson and still take Purdy.
Yeah, I need to see Richardson more before I put that type of value on him.
Yeah.
You know, because if he doesn't change his ways, he's going to get hurt again like he did last year. And for me in redraft, I wouldn't touch him there. I would rather have Herbert over Richardson.
Yeah, I think where he's going, it's just he's getting overdrafted for me. Not that I don't like him, he's just overdrafted. I can't take him over guys like Love and Murray and Prescott, Purdy. Like every one of those guys, I think has a better opportunity to at least get you the points you need to be successful.
I think this is the second one that we've looked at tonight where Tua has gone over Herbert, and that just blows my mind because he is one hit away from being done.
Yeah, the one that gets me is Goff, man. I think Goff is so extremely underrated right now.
Yeah, I think Goff's,
like we're going to talk about it here. We did yesterday on the bonus pod, so I won't get too much in depth in it. But Goff fell to me in the third round of that 18-man league, and everybody was teasing me like I felt like forced to take him there, and I was like, man, Goff was the last quarterback of a tier, and even higher than like 3 or 4 of the guys that went ahead of him for me. So I was actually ecstatic that he was still there for me to take at that point in the game. So
I think this draft is almost the perfect spot for Goff for me.
The late third right there.
Yeah, late third. I mean, maybe you can take him over Daniels. I'd
take him over Daniels.
Besides Daniels, I don't know if I'm taking him over any of those quarterbacks.
You would really take Tua over Goff?
I have, yeah. I'll take Tua.
No, I don't think. I think out of that round, Tua is the worst one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot better options than Tua right there.
Oh,
I know some people like it a lot, but I'm not with them at that level, man. He's
who
away from being done for these.
Who traded for him? The TC? Who does he have?
The TC show? He is right here.
Traded for him, and he has Purdy and Tua. I mean,
yeah.
Horrible.
Not a bad start for
Levis.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Marvin Harrison as your wide receiver 1, but where he got him, I can't complain too much.
What about he made Keenan Allen over Tank Dell? Do y'all like that?
That's a tough one. I
like Keenan Allen.
I think I might even look at somebody else and I don't know, you guys aren't going to like this at all, but I like Hollywood Brown. I think in that over Keenan Allen. I just like his 1-year potential this year with them. I think he could easily be their wide receiver 1, being the most experienced wide receiver if Bryce ends up being suspended. So Aiden Reed too, I might take over Allen. Tank Dell, I definitely take over Allen.
What about the Cole Kmet hate? What do y'all? He had a pretty good tight end year last year, and he's dropping to the 5th. Is that the 15th round?
Yeah, 15th round.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the Cole Kmet hate. I think the issue is the amount of mouths now in Chicago.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And people just think that he's going to be the one that takes the biggest hit.
Yeah,
but he's going after. I mean, Ben Sinnott. We're not even sure he's going to start as the tight end 1 in Washington. Some other names. I mean, TJ Hawkinson. I'm not saying he should go ahead of TJ Hawkinson, but TJ Hawkinson went 3 rounds or 4 rounds ahead of him, and he's not even going to play the first 6 games. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, Cade Otton went after him, right?
I'd take Cade. I would rather have Cade than Kmet.
Okonkwo went after him.
Yeah, I think I would.
Musgrave went after him.
You would rather have Otton over Kmet?
So the only reason that it's not that I think Kmet is better than Otton. I just don't know for target shares and the amount. So Mayfield had, maybe because I'm a Bucs fan at the same time, but if you looked at last year's on how they did it, it was Evans, Godwin, and Cade. And Cade got better as the year went along. And there's just too many mouths for me to believe that, Kmet will put up the same numbers as last year.
We still don't know what this offense is going to look like in Chicago. I mean, we know that Caleb's going to throw the ball, but, I mean, do we really know? I mean, what this offense is really going to look like? I mean, I really don't. I mean, I know that it's not like they're going to be super run heavy. Obviously, they're going to throw the ball. They brought in receivers for that. But as far as picking who's going to get the lion's share of the targets in that offense, is it going to be DJ Moore? Is it going to be Allen? Is he going to latch on to Odunze? I mean, they were both drafted together. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in that offense. So I think Kmet, I agree with Ken. I think Kmet's just, he might get 1 or 2 targets a game for all we know.
Connor, I would also like to say this. I don't, in terms of the value and where they're picked, I would rather go where Auden is compared to Komet. I'm not saying Komet is better. I'm not saying Auden is better than Komet, though.
Yeah. I think
you take Musgrave over him?
No.
I mean, they're kind of in the same position, target share scenario, just better quarterbacks.
I think Kraft takes over that tight end one position.
Yeah, you got Kraft there.
You think Kraft takes over the tight end position from Musgrave?
I do.
Either that or they cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
I like Kraft. I think he's kind of a small sleeper in the tight end world.
Somebody puts in the chat, dealer gets smarter by the week.
Oh, TJ, you make
you got a big fan. Look at that. You got a fan there.
That's his buddy. That's why.
Yeah, we know.
Hey, TJ comes on every single week, and he is always active in the comments. I appreciate it, TJ.
There you go. You got a big fan.
I think it's just you logged into a separate account on your computer.
Oh yeah.
Type it in little comments every now and then to hype yourself up.
All right. All right. Well, let's transition out of the ADP talk. I know we wanted to get to the Guillotine League that we finished up. There's some teams that some owners that wanted us to evaluate their team. So we will get into that right now. Sean, go ahead and throw that slide up.
Oh yeah, we're here, brother.
And then if you have the players that wanted us to evaluate their team, we can.
So we can start with this one here. This is James. He's our Maui James. He's a friend of mine I've been known for quite a while now. We used to work together years ago. So he wanted to make sure that we talked about his team because he thinks it's just amazing. So he wanted us to talk all about it.
Amazing.
So I'll let you go first, Scott. You tell me what you think.
All right. So let's see. Now I'm still new at this Guillotine stuff, so I don't know if my take is going to hold any weight, but I'll just give you my quick analysis on it. I mean, obviously, I love the Josh Allen pick. I mean, I was either going to go him or Stroud, and I wanted to go CJ, but I think that's great that he got Josh Allen right there. Sam Laporta, he's definitely going to be consistent in that offense. The offense hasn't changed much, so I think he's going to be a key cog in that offense. I can't see who else is on the board in the third round, but he did go with Debo in the third. So
yeah, the opportunity to take DJ, DK, Kincaid, Smith, and Kupp were the next few picks. Also Waddle, if you want to include him, because he was up the turn.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I bet you he probably got sniped with Nico Collins. I'm wondering if he was maybe trying to target him. That was a good pick by Zubikis. I'm not crazy about the Diggs pick. That's probably the one I'm not really crazy about. I think he's just going to take a step back this year. I mean, he's not an alpha anymore. He's got Tank Dell for some competition. I really think CJ is locking on to Nico. So I would have probably, maybe went with somebody a little more that's got a little bit more WR1 target share, like maybe George Pickens, in that spot. Now he went on his running back run with Montgomery, Pollard, and Chase Brown. I probably over Montgomery. I think Montgomery was a good pick. I was actually targeting him over Mostert right there.
I disagree.
I would have taken Mostert over.
I would take Mostert, White, and Swift all over Montgomery. I'm not sure I'd take Devin Singletary there either, but I'd take those three running backs for sure over
Swift or Mostert. I would have taken. Over.
I have to say with his team, if he makes it out of week 1, he is gonna have to get very creative on the waiver wire.
Okay, so
why is that, Ken?
All right, so Ken,
tell everybody why.
What position? If he makes it out of week 1, what position should he target?
Drum roll.
You
know what it is.
For me, it would have to. Oh man, this is. I have to say, oh man, this is tough.
Well, I got to give you a tough question.
I know.
He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to say what I know he needs to say right now.
I know. I really don't want to say it.
Quarterback.
He has to go running back.
Yes, he
But-
absolutely does.
But Sean, why is that a problem? If you make it out of week 1, you have to go wide receiver. I'm not sure why that's
No, I
such
don't.
a
Not at all. Not at all.
We're not talking about Sean's team.
So my thing is, it's Connor said it a couple times. He doesn't have maybe Debo, but I just don't. I like wide receiver ones, and he just has no ones on his team.
You
Yeah, I
don't think
think
Debo's a one for him?
not a dominant one. Like he's not like he might be a 1A, but he's not like 1 and then Ayuk's like a low B, you know.
So look at the guys that went after him. You've got DJ, DK, Devontae, Cup, and Waddle.
I would have taken more.
More?
I would have taken more over him.
I think I take Moore, I take Waddle, and I take Metcalf.
Wait, where's Waddle? Oh, yeah, there's Waddle. I would definitely take Waddle over him too.
I think my problem with his team is Montgomery over Mostert, White, Swift, and then Pollard over Moss, or even Jalen Warren.
This is the one right here over Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah,
That was the
Jonathan
one
Brooks,
that-
but I'm
that
not
was
sure Jonathan
18.
Brooks is starter week 1. I think he
Yeah.
does take that job, but
If he's planning on attacking running back again in the next round like he did, then I'm taking Brooks.
yeah,
And I'm having Brown as my starter running back, so I just don't want to be last. And then I'm having Brooks in the wings to be my RB2 moving forward, or RB1
Yeah.
because he'll need a solid RB1 down the road.
yeah, I do like the Chase Brown pick though. I think Chase Brown, he might be more confident in Zach and Brown taking Moss's spot. Maybe that's why he's passed on Moss.
I would think so. Yeah. Yeah, I know he likes Brown a lot because in our main league that we play in, they give a lot of bonus points for long touchdowns, and Brown came on strong with that towards the end of the season. So
I might take Jerome Ford over Chase Brown though too. I think Jerome Ford is the starter for sure week 1 there, right?
yeah.
that's a good call. I mean, that's probably why Lutz took him where he took him.
You know.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Well,
while
before
we're here, can we take a look at Sean's team real quick?
And before we get into that, I just want to. I know we didn't do any new player introductions, but Cheeky Hobson just jumped in the chat, and he said, "I'm new to the group this year, but ready to mix it up. Want to welcome you in, Cheeky. And if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Welcome into the Ballsville community."
Is this the team you wanted to see, Ken?
Why are we looking?
I
at
think I
Sean?
might take Maui's team over your team.
Really? You'll take this over this, huh?
Yeah, my issue is I don't really know who the heck you're playing at wide receiver.
Well, I mean, T. Higgins and Christian Watson are expected to play barring injury, right?
Christian Watson is Will Fuller.
No.
Hey, Will Fuller had a good game week 1, right? Before he got hurt in week 6. So that's all I need.
Is Watson going to be the wide receiver 3 there?
No,
He's going to be the
gonna
wide receiver 1 if he stays
He's
healthy.
going to be the wide receiver.
He's not going over Reed.
No, Scott, no, he is not.
He's not going over Reed. Reed's going a whole
Just
round.
because he's not going over Reed doesn't mean he's going to be the wide receiver 1 when the season starts.
I would rather have Wicks than Watson.
What?
Yeah, at ADP.
I like taking Wicks as my backup to Watson in case Watson gets hurt.
Has Watson ever played more than 4 games in a row? Or
I'm grabbing all the Watson I can grab for a redraft.
Where you're getting him at 7th round? Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, you're getting him at such a good value. It's hard to pass that up.
The other guy that I really like I was debating between Watson and him is Khalil Shakir. I was considering Khalil Shakir there instead of Watson, but I just couldn't do it.
yeah, I was surprised you actually didn't take Shakir.
Well, the reason I didn't take him when he came back around to me, because I was actually extremely surprised that he actually made all the way back around to me to where I considered him again. But I had to take the RB and Kendre because I needed my third back.
Why didn't you take Corum there?
Why didn't I take Corum there? Oh, there's a reason for that. 70 show over here hating on me. Taking
All
all my
right.
picks. You also took Adonai Mitchell right in front of me before, and I was like irritated at you for that one too.
Sean, who's the next team?
Next team, moving on. Scott, he's like, get your ass in here, buddy. Did we
Chiefs
talk?
life.
We talked Chiefs. No, we talked Chiefs. It was
talked-
Tortoise. It was
Tortoise. Here we go. Okay, Tortoise. Is Tortoise still on?
I hope he's still on.
He might have got pissed and just left.
No, he's
right,
got to
Tortoise.
be in here still.
Well, hopefully you're still in here, Tortoise, because we're evaluating your team. All right, we'll let your we'll go with let's see. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead and break down your buddy's team.
Whew, sorry about that. I had to sneeze. It's such a horrible team. No, I'm just kidding.
The team's built almost exactly like yours. So.
I know it is
That's
very
the scary thing.
So what's up with this Rashad White there in the second round?
I like you pointed that out because that was exactly where I was going to go with my first gripe about this squad. And I actually had this conversation with him about it. I don't understand why he took White right there. I would have definitely went with Joe Burrow and gotten myself my first quarterback right there and been happy as hell at that point. So I don't know why he went White there. So that's my first gripe with his squad. I like that he took Hall where he did because, like we talked about with the running backs, the reason I do that in this type of league and specifically in guarantee leagues is those guaranteed first week points, man. Those are so important in this types of leagues. And running backs are going to get your carries, man. As long as they're healthy week one, they're going to get their carries. So I don't mind that. I don't mind the Breece Hall pick, but the White pick to me, now you're reaching over too many good players to take White there. Like that's too much.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Ken right here because Ken was not in this league. So I want to get a perspective on Ken. How do you like to draft guillotine leagues, and what did Tortoise do good, or did he do bad, or would you drafted like him? What's your approach?
So I'm going to be taking a page out of Connor's book because I focus on wide receivers here.
And guillotine specifically?
Still, I want those true. Want those number one wide receivers to get me those points because for me, especially after the first couple weeks, I want to make sure those guys get the points. I guess
that's the argument I use for running backs. So what's to stop a wide receiver? Garrett Wilson's a great example, right? We got Aaron Rodgers coming out off Achilles injury. We don't know what to expect week one. They're playing against San Francisco. Like, what if Garrett comes out with like a 3-catch, 20-yard game? That's very plausible. Week one is always so crazy. We don't know.
Right, and the running back can rush 10 times and get 20 yards.
That's true, but the matchup aspects.
But my issue, anyone can have a bad game. But with wide receivers, I would rather take that risk than with running backs because I also believe running backs have a higher risk of getting injured than wide receivers.
It's a good point.
Shout out to JoJo. JoJo, fellow Raider. Finally, you got in here.
So I guess the other thing is, let me ask you this. If you were in Tortoise's spot and you could have gotten Nakua and say you got Nakua and Devontae Adams, I would much rather have that and then get Gus Edwards in the later rounds.
Look who got Gus Edwards.
I get what you're saying there.
Where
So,
is
like,
Gus
he's
Edwards?
in here instead of taking White or Burrow, he goes wide receiver.
Where's Gus Edwards on the board?
He's on my team, Sean.
Oh, son of a gun. Always on
You
Connor's
like
team.
my team, Ken.
You like how I picked on your first round pick too in that last little part.
Yeah,
right?
I was.
Yeah, I just think I would much rather die on the hill with wide receivers and get those points. I've always been that way, and I guess that's just kind of the field I'm going to stand on. And I understand people, Guillotine's a little different and wanting to get those top players running back. But I guess my thing is, it's just like, everyone can say, oh, wide receiver can go 3 for 20 and crap the bed. Great. Wide receivers can do this, or running backs can do the exact same thing, rush 10 times, get 20 yards. I just want to stand on that hill of wide receivers.
Can we look at Breece Hall's week one last year, please?
Week one against Buffalo, he had 10 attempts, 127 yards. Thanks for making me relive that moment.
Well, the Bills suck.
That's his projections, right?
What's that?
Is that his projections or his last year?
This was last year. We don't play Buffalo for week 1. We
Oh, yeah.
we found that out on the bonus pod
Yeah,
because I
you
forgot
play
that it was the
Arizona, right?
Cardinals. Got yelled at for it. I lost my Mafia card for a second.
I mean, I understand why Tortoise maybe took Rashad White just because of the PPR value and getting those guaranteed points, but I just
I made
it's hard
a
to pass up
bad
on a
point.
quarterback. It's hard to pass up on a quarterback, I think, at that spot. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm still new to this. What about you, Connor? Do you concur with Ken?
Yeah, I concur with Ken, but I made a bad point. It was Brees Hall's week 2, as I was talking about. It was
Against
he had
Dallas.
0.9 points.
Oh no,
And then he followed it back with another 3.7 point performance. So that's what I was hinting at. He did have a decent week 1, so I made a bad point. But I do agree with Ken. I obviously I'm drafting wide receivers. I was kind of surprised when Garrett Wilson fell to me.
It's hard to take Brees Hall's week 2 or 3 stats because that's after the year in injury. You know, when Zach Wilson is your quarterback, it's hard to score points no matter who you are.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why I'm taking a receiver. I mean, Garrett Wilson was the same way last year, so but
True. That's very true.
I
Like
think
that's the part that I
his
freaked
week
out. I
one
like
was-
your Lamar Jackson pick, though. I think that's going to save you no matter what, anyways.
yeah, and I really like my Kelsey pick. I feel like as a high floor tight end there.
Yeah.
And I have 2 wide receiver 1s and maybe a third in Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
going
in Guillotine leagues too, tight ends are definitely more valuable because of their onesie position, and there's not as many of them out there that can score. So, you know, last year Kelsey was actually I want to say like Guillotine ADP, which is very like take it for a grain of salt right now, but Guillotine the ADP he was like 1.1.
I don't know how I feel about the Keenan Allen pick in round 4 though.
I wanted a third wide receiver that because we're only playing 2 wide receivers, and so he's my flex.
Oh, that's right. He's 2, not 3.
Yeah, so it's not like he's my wide. We're playing 3. If we're playing 3, I might go a running back there. But since we're only playing 2, I was more comfortable taking him as my
I
flex.
don't mind you who you took there because you had, you know, your best bet was like Swift, I think was the next best running back right there. Swift and Mostert maybe. So
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't have hated the Mostert pick at that point, but I also feel like there's better receivers. I probably would have went Godwin or Deontay Johnson.
I would have gone Godwin because he's going back to the slot.
I have as my third wide receiver. I was going more for upside at that point. I think he has wide receiver 1 upside more so than any of those wide receivers there.
Yeah, well, you're going to need it starting Gus Edwards and Brian Robinson on your running back spots.
Yeah, week 1, and then when I get my FAB, I can go buy Kyron Williams or Travis.
Hey, you go right ahead and spend all that money. Oh, Kyron Williams or Travis Etienne. I got you did that.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. And
Oh no.
It's just a little bit of strategy question. So, in a regular redraft league, if you draft receivers and then this is obviously the way I would draft it if I was doing 0 RB. I draft my receivers in the later rounds. I'm looking for running backs, and I'm looking for running backs that are pass catchers to pick up some easy points. Now in Guillotine, if I pass on receivers early and take those high floor running backs, am I targeting receivers that are like slot receivers that are going to acquire lots of easy targets? Are those slot receivers? Are those positions you guys are looking at when you're looking at a receiver in Guillotine league where you can get those easy targets in easy points?
I mean, I personally shoot for like where they got going to be in the offense, right? So, you know, slot receiver might be the third target in that offense, even though they're, you know, going to get a good amount of easy targets. I still take the wide receiver 2 that in target count, in my opinion, whether that's the tight end or that's the wide receiver on the outside or whatever it is. Like that's my target more so than the slot guy, because they're usually not the second pace target player is the slot guy. Rarely.
No,
it happens, but it's not often.
Now with Sean, since we're on this, so when the Bills offense had Diggs, had Gabe Davis, and had Cole Beasley, I mean, Beasley was getting all those easy targets, and he mainly just played out of the slot. So like this year, for example,
but Davis was the more rostered player and, you know, getting the more fantasy points, if I remember correctly.
over over Beasley?
Over Beasley, yeah. Because Davis was getting the touchdowns and the deep passes, and he had a decent share of the offense as well.
Right, but I'm saying in Guillotine where you're not like touchdowns are random. You can't predict touchdowns. But
Gabe Davis is tough to play in Guillotine for sure.
Yeah,
so that's
for
a
example,
question.
Sean, can you scroll the board to the left or right? Thank you.
Which team you want to look at?
I'm looking for a player.
Oh,
where's my? So I think a very good value play while we're on this topic is what El Super Beasto took, and I think by taking Myers, he is, in my opinion, one of the top 3 most undervalued wide receivers in fantasy.
I'd take Shaheed over him.
You would take who?
Shaheed.
I
would have taken Shaheed.
Well, everyone in the chat says Derek Carr sucks and Shaheed, blah, blah, blah. Olave is not going to do well either. All that stuff.
What does he suck at, Ken?
Football. He sucks at football.
He sucks at football.
But,
he sucks at football.
But Myers continues to put up big numbers where he is used in the offense, and he's one of those guys that, in my opinion, is like a Godwin that's just going to eat up targets. He might not get touchdowns, but he's going to eat up a lot of targets and get yards.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you because Myers has burned me. I've never been a fan, but he always seems to do better, and it bothers me, so I can't hate on him anymore. But I definitely – I think Shaheed has more game break potential in him. And, I think if I'm not mistaken, he's their number 1 returner in the new kick rule. Return touchdowns come into play. So, that's definitely my factor there because the quarterback situation is kind of the same to me. I mean, I don't see why people think Derek Carr is any worse than Minshew or O'Connell.
What do y'all think?
Jojo says in the chat that back-to-back 1K seasons with a quarterback that sucks at football. So he was obviously talking about Olave.
What do y'all think about the Deontay Johnson pick that El Super Sucko took there? Sorry, Gary. I was just
bam.
Which pick are you talking about?
Deontay Johnson over Hollywood Brown and Jaden Reed and Calvin Ridley.
I don't like that pick, and I wasn't going to bring it up because I've been on El Super Beasto quite a few times, so I was trying to give him a pass. But since you brought it up, I just don't like that pick.
Yeah, I like almost any of those receivers that went after him personally.
Yeah, I think I might take Jaden Reed or Hollywood Brown over him, honestly, too.
I'll take Calvin.
Don't get me wrong. I like him.
I would have taken Zamir White over to Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, as his RB2, I don't disagree there either. Or Mostert as well.
Yeah, I'd probably take Mostert there.
Sean,
especially because I'm not super confident as RB1 either.
Is there another team, Sean?
Yeah, can we roast you for a sec, Scott?
Go ahead, roast up.
Yeah, why'd you take Baker?
Who?
Why'd you take
Baker?
Yeah, why'd you take Baker?
I don't know. Because
it was an 11th round and an 18-team pick, man. I mean, if you're going to pick on him, don't go with that pick.
No, this has nothing to do with the pick. It has everything to do that he doesn't like anyone on New England. And for him to take a player,
okay, so I'll tell you the reason why I took Javon Baker. Because somebody's got to emerge as the number 1 there. And right now it's looking, got Jalen Polk, you got Javon Baker, and Hunter Henry, and really nobody else. Ramondre catching some passes. So I'm thinking the dart throw at that point. I mean,
no, his wide receiver 1 in New England went around before him.
Who Polk?
No, Douglas.
Pop Douglas.
Pop Douglas.
He had a good year last year.
Sarah, play the song. That is a clown take, Ken. That is such a clown take. He sucks at football.
Hey,
why are we
your team's hey,
Douglas? No one's going to have him on his fantasy
your
team.
Team's a
not
clown.
Going to be scoring points for your team.
Your team is done week 1.
Who is his co-owner though? Who let him make these picks? Pretty sure he has a co-owner.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does, right?
Oh, there we go.
I think we're at that time for the end of the pod.
Scott, next time you bring in a co-owner to help you with your picks, make sure you guys aren't on the same boat trip.
Yeah, no shit.
That was the beach day.
That probably was the beach day.
My least favorite pick besides the Stroud pick, obviously, is the Najee Harris pick. I think he has such a low floor. Like
Najee
has a low floor compared to Mixon, Jones, Walker, Ramondre, Connor. He took
No
him in
way,
round 4.
not over Walker.
I'm not saying that. I think his floor is lower.
I think I'd take Walker over him.
Yeah.
I think Walker and Mixon I'd probably consider, but with him having Stroud, you definitely don't want to stack in a guillotine. So Mixon is off the table.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was going to take Mixon, but I didn't want to stack them. But the reason why I took Najee is because you got Farty Smith there in Pittsburgh, who just runs the hell out of the ball. And even though he's going to be sharing carries with Warren, I think his floor should still be pretty stable.
I would have preferred you take Tank Dell. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna prefer you take a receiver there, but Najee Harris his floor. I just feel like for a guillotine league is just pretty low for having him as your first running back.
Well, if I passed on Najee there or passed on any running back there, I mean, I was lucky to get Mostert on the way back. I didn't think he would have never made it back to me.
I thought
I would have been looking.
You could have if you took Tank Dell there, you could have double tapped Mostert and Swift, and you would have been, I think, in a better position than Harris and Mostert, and then having Ridley.
Yeah, but no, I agree. But in 18 teams, I mean, like I said, I've never drafted an 18-team league before, so I don't know how it was going to go, how many players I was going to get coming on the way back. I mean, I think Jerome Ford was a great pick.
Yeah, I agree. I already told you I like that pick. I think he's at least their definite week 1 starter.
So if Jalen Waddle fell to you, do you take him instead of Najee?
If Jalen Waddle would have fell, actually, I wanted Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp would have fell, I wanted Cooper Kupp.
You'd have taken Kupp.
Yeah,
just my one wrap up thing for this, great draft is that Sean still has the worst team here.
I'll take the heat. I'm always hyping up my team. I got to get some grief sometimes.
Who had the lowest projection? Is it El Super Bisto? He has.
We can go look at that real quick too if you guys want to.
I know I have the 3rd lowest.
Here we go. So we've got let's see. El Super Bisto is actually one of the higher ones at 94.58. Our low man on the totem pole.
El Super Bisto.
It's good. It's Scott has El Super Bisto beat by 0.36 points.
Yes. Take that, Biesto.
0.36 points. So El Super Biesto is slated first round to be the one out.
I think his biggest mistake there, if I'm not wrong, I think it's Deontay Johnson because he's only projected 8 points.
Deontay Johnson 8.4.
Yeah, and I believe that.
Look at Ramondre though. His RB1 is only projected at 9.74. So RB2 is higher.
I believe his the 3 people that went after him were projected. I mean, not that projections mean anything, but Ridley, Hollywood Brown were all projected 10 plus, and Deontay Johnson week 1's only projected 8,
right. He's got
Sean
tight end.
That means if you had the worst team, in my opinion, that means Tortoise had to have the second worst because he basically copied you.
He's at 90.13. I'm at 94.58.
Hey, I'm right there with you. 94.38, I think.
Hey, look, at least one of El Super Biesto's screen names is rated to win,
All righty. Well, I guess we're getting close on time here. I think we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank all the listeners that chimed in and gave their opinions. I want to thank my panel, Sean, Ken the dealer, and then Connor Seabaum. And I also want to thank Sarah, who's behind the glass with all the cool sounds and little trinkets that she brings to our podcast. Also, you gamers that didn't get to see this live and see it on YouTube, please hit the like button, subscribe for us. It really helps our pod. Throw in questions in the comments. Like I said, I sift through them every week, and if I see anything that's pod related, I will definitely bring it up on the next pod. So
click the thumbs up if you like Scott's new tan.
Thank you very much. I worked very hard on that. But until next time, Ballsville gamers, we are out.
That's a wrap.